We are back, and we are going to talk about something that is probably going to rattle.
Somebody's cage.
Right.
No, it's just it's. I don't know if it's controversial, but it's too easy. It's too easy to. It's opinionated, so it's really hard, and it's not politics. So one of the questions we got, and this is from Marsha. She said that she would like to hear us talk about what men think women want versus what women actually want.
Well, I'd love
Good.
to jump in here. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that women know what they want themselves, and this is not trying to make a knock on anybody or whatever. I've seen people say, "Hey, I want to be in control," then turn around, "Well, why don't you ever take control?" And then you're a control freak in the same breath.
Where you're being controlling.
Right. So I'm not saying that every man out there knows what they want, but almost consistently, I don't think women know exactly what they want. Or maybe they have an idea at some point. And, I don't want to say.
So I'll say this,
Yeah.
just to jump on here and maybe make it an easier explanation. I think men have less expectations than women do.
Yeah.
And I think that's where exactly what you're talking about. Maybe not that they don't know what they want. They just have less expectations than we do.
Sir
Like,
Blanco.
like men are for the most part easy. So
But why
I mean,
do you
that's
think? Why do you think that women have those expectations versus men having lower expectations?
I think just the way that culturally, society, all that, the way women, girls to women are raised up. I mean, I have two daughters, and I certainly make sure that they know that they're princesses and they should be treated like princesses. So they get that.
So do
I
you,
don't think that I'm not a fan of. I don't want that to be misconstrued as men should just buy you whatever you want, and that's determinative of a good relationship. Because there are a lot of women nowadays, and maybe it was born out of being treated poorly, maybe it was born out of this, but a lot of women will go on a date with you just for that free meal, and versus saying, "Look, dude, I'm never going to be with you. I'm not attracted to you. This is never going anywhere.
right.
We can hang out and have dinner if you want." Because if you give guys that choice, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, "Hell no."
Right. And I'll play devil's advocate. I've known of females who didn't want guys as far as the dinner thing, thinking that they were getting something out of the deal, so they would end up going Dutch. If you don't know what Dutch means, that means, 50-50.
You pay for what?
Yeah, you pay for what you got and they'll pay for what they got. I've seen it that way too. And the ladies who do that, that's very commendable.
I haven't seen that very frequently, but I think nowadays more, it's girls, and not all girls. This first and foremost, when we talking about this, ladies, don't think that by saying girls we mean all girls or all guys. This is generalized, or I don't have an exact percentage, so I'm saying girls. But I do see girls that brag about, "I can go to the bar with no money and end up drunk by the end of the night." Like that type of stuff. And I was a kid that grew up in a house that wasn't very, there wasn't affection and all that stuff. So a lot of the affectionate romance, all that stuff, I learned from watching TV, and that was back in the day where, men were romantic. They held your hand. You go on dates, all that type of stuff. So it was absent the games. So once you involve the games, well, I just want to be your friend because I was hurt. But then 2 weeks later, they're with the dude that buy him the Michael Kors bag and don't got a job and his gums and his lips are black and and treat him bad. I mean, it's all part of the game. In the beginning, even the bad boy is going to portray himself to be, hey, I'm a little bit edgy, but I'm going to play the game. So the girl feels vulnerable and feels like, oh, well, he'll change. And they don't. And those are the girls that, you'll see on Facebook that are super in love for like 2-3 months. And then it's like they're making Facebook posts complaining about, man, I just want to be heard. And I can't even express myself. And you just see it. And it's a train wreck, and it's a train wreck from the start because you're not getting the real person. Because nobody dates anymore. Nobody actually takes the time to say, you know what, we're not in a relationship. I'm going to go on a date. I'm going to get to know you, the real you, and then we can move on with a relationship. And that's where the discord is, because you just jump in thinking, this is my boo.
Well, let me say this, too. You talking about not dating or anything. Do you think that was ruined by sites like Tinder and Plenty of Fish and everything, which seems more like almost get laid tonight type of site rather than let me date somebody.
I think it was ruined by this perpetual cycle of guys treating girls like shit, girls saying, well, if I'm gonna get treated like shit, I'm gonna get all I can get out of it. And then in that cycle there's the nice guy that tries to come in and the girls are like, nah, because either that's the guy that isn't playing the game and can't afford, literally, you can't afford to spend half your paycheck on this girl, which you shouldn't have to. That's immaterial in a relationship. Yeah. But it's become commonplace that a lot of girls expect, you're gonna have to pass off at least some money so I can go shopping bitch, you better drive Uber.
What's funny is, I'm old school. My father was 50 years older than I was. And, he was born in 1928. So, my foundation of dating, he was always, be chivalrous. So I believe in that till this day. I even, and my wife, kind of makes me be chivalrous because she'll walk to a door and she'll stand in front of it
until you open it.
Until I open it, which I'm gonna do anyway. But see, my wife walks extremely fast. She walks like
she got the Amazon walk with a purpose,
like a building's on fire or something. Matter of fact, we'll be walking together and she'll stop. Am I walking that fast? Yes, you are. I don't have to keep up with you. Go ahead. I'm watching you. If something happens, I'll be there. But
yeah, my ex would get mad at me for walking fast. She'd be like, "This is not Amazon. You don't have to walk like that." I was like, "Hey, look, I'm just used to it."
Yeah, she'll make me be chivalrous, which is my intention anyway. I will say this: the door thing kind of went away because you got these automatic doors and everything. You know what I mean?
I've never been big on a door. Maybe.
No, I was. I definitely was.
I was never big on a door, but I was definitely
Bronx
flowers.
If she
I've seen Bronx.
If she don't click the thing open for me, she's done. There's no more dates. So I'm definitely a firm. Flowers, yeah,
I was always flowers, but then now it's turned into the more effort you put in, the thirstier you are. So now it's like, well, now you're stuck in a situation that if you're trying, which is the old school way, you go out of your way to show this girl, hey, I like you. These are the things I'm doing this because I like you to impress. All this stuff, like the nice guy stuff, and that is David, and that now is thirsty. Like, and that's, you're like, well, damn. So would you want me to treat you like shit? Is that better?
I don't know where, but I've seen a trend where the mentality has changed at some point. You know what I mean? Like when I was coming up and you start dating or whatever as a young guy, there was none of that. The word thirsty didn't even exist. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
So I'm trying to figure out where they, to me, it seems like a lot of women want attention. Okay. And here's the proof. Go on Facebook right now and look at the pictures put up. How many selfies you see from females? You know what I mean? And all
Different
that
angles,
stuff. So
yeah.
you want attention, but then somebody gives you the attention.
So here
and
it
you're
is.
Thirsty now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Thirsty is the excuse not to just be honest with somebody and say, you know what, look, I just don't feel that way about you. And I hate when women try to use that excuse, well, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So I don't get it. So you think by being dishonest, instead, taking flowers from a guy, taking, talking to a guy in your inbox or whatever the case may be, all that stuff, you call him thirsty instead of just being honest and just saying, hey, you know what? Hey, I like you, but I don't like you like that. You move on, whatever the case. The lack of honesty, I think, is ultimately the root of all the problems, that a girl can't just say, I'm not into you like that. There's literally like a book of excuses that they use.
You're right for sure.
Instead of just being honest. And I don't want to be rude. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to. It's honest. There's nothing wrong with honesty. Unless you're like, dude, you're ugly as shit. And I think you just suck as a person. That's rude. But if I'm not attracted to you, I don't want to be with you. Yeah. It's not rude.
Right. It's
just honest.
And that's what it is. And honestly, if a man can't take that, then he shouldn't be dating. Right. As simple as that. Or even
putting himself out there. But instead, you continue that, and then it's the guy, oh, he's being thirsty. Well, you're not telling him you're not interested, that you're not attracted, that this is never going to happen. So tell him that. And then it's done. You don't have to. And then if he continues after that, then yeah, I could see you saying, oh, he's thirsty. Hey, that's too much, whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's a different story. So I don't think it's a matter of women not knowing what they want. I think they do know what they want. I don't think that men or women are honest with each other. I think men might not like it, but I think men are a little more honest because they have less expectations than women do. Women have a larger pedestal of expectations than men do. And that's not to say that we don't have expectations. I just think we have less.
I think everybody, male and female, should be honest with each other with this whole dating thing, because not only, look, there's some people who go for bullshit. Let's keep it that way. There's some people who go for bullshit, and there's people who don't play those games, but being honest gives that person an out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like if a chick sleeps with a bunch of dudes and she tells you up front, you can make that decision. Look, well, I'm just going to knock it off the one time, or I'm not even going to deal with this girl because I really like her. I don't want to be with somebody like that, or whatever the case. You can make a wise decision or a better decision,
right? Then
based off that honesty. And that works both ways, male and female. A guy as a player plays around. Tell the girl, look, I ain't looking for no relationship.
But that's never going to happen just because of he's a player, and most guys that are players, that it's all in the game. I need to convince this chick that I'm in love with her, that I love her, and I'm gonna do all this stuff because that's the hook.
Yeah, but I think there's some guys who do it honestly too. I think there's some guys.
I think that percentage
and
is like.
I think for you to get that a female to go along with that, something might be missing up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she might be the same type of person. Look, I just sleep around.
Yeah, I don't think that it's something missing. I think they just are. They just have that same low expectations. Their expectation list is not as high, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, whatever it is, what it is.
Lori,
I think if guys can have low expectations, girls can. It just is. But what I think is that the gap is the honesty piece, and there's just too many excuses that go into all this stuff.
Hold on, Lori. Let me ask you a question. If a guy comes up to you and he's honest about, look, I don't want a relationship, I just want to be friends, and whatever happens, is that a turn off for you as a female, or do you appreciate that guy's honesty? Whether you like him, for to be a long term thing or whatever the case. Is that offensive to you as a female? It's a lot of games played by both sides.
Yeah, for sure. That's where the honesty comes in. So it's not that women are more dishonest or men are more dishonest. It's just the dishonesty in general.
Yeah.
Just be
It
open
depends
with
on the
yourself.
person. Yeah.
Everything depends on the person. Just say, hey, look, you know what? I'm into dating. This is like, I want to go on a date with you. No thanks. Not interested. Okay, you move on. If you continue after that, then I think you can call them thirsty, but don't not give a definitive yes, no, just say no. You know if you're attracted to somebody in the beginning or not.
Let me bring up another subject. So, let me ask you. Let's say you're talking to a female, and there's no expectations. Y'all just seeing where it goes or what have you. Now, let's say the girl starts. Why don't we have a title? Where is this going? Where is that going? Does that become a turn off to you as a man? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's dependent. I think it's dependent on where you're at. Like, did you get involved in this relationship with
Fred?
So, did you get involved in the relationship, like you said, where you said, you know what, I'm not trying to be in a relationship, and then why don't we have a title? That makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But if neither one of you set that expectations, and she says one way or the other, if you're fucking mature, you can say, okay, well, that's not something we've talked about, but we need to talk about it. And you just, as a fucking grown up, you just talk about it and you figure out what it is. Maybe you were looking for a relationship. You just didn't talk about it. So it's dependent.
Well, I got to be honest with you. The reason why I asked that, I got a buddy, and I'm not going to say his name out of respect.
I mean,
but he was.
Buddy's not me, by the way.
Yeah, he was talking to a lady, and right from the beginning, he was like, "Look, this is what it is." There was no games. He was just seeing this lady. Mm-hmm. And I know because, I would get full disclosure. But he was dating this lady and everything was fine. They were getting along and she starts pushing. She was like, "Look, why don't we have that title? Why haven't I met your friends? Why haven't I met your child? Why haven't I?" And it started bugging him. But he still liked her. And that's not even the reason why they stopped talking. There was another issue. But
I would say that's his fault.
His fault?
I would say that's his fault.
Why do you think?
Because once she starts asking those questions, you got to stop. You got to say, okay, this is where this is heading. I know what type of thing she's looking for. You got to stop it, and you got to say, hey, look, you know what? I
hear that, Lord.
If I'm not there, then you need to tell them. That's all this is. No,
but he did.
And if she keeps pushing, then that's another story. That's what if you say that's not what I'm looking for, whatever, then you got to pull the eject button because that's what they're looking for. And you just got to be honest enough to say, you know what, this ain't working out. We got to.
No, he definitely did. He definitely did.
He said he didn't want to see her no more?
He didn't say he didn't want to see her.
That's where he's wrong. You got to pull the eject button because she's looking for something other than what he's looking for. You got to pull the eject button.
Well, the eject button was pulled because, like I said, there was another.
Right, but to answer your question, he's wrong because he should have pulled the eject button because she's looking for something that he's not looking for. Mm-hmm. So you're holding on to it, holding on, and then obviously she's not giving up that fight. Essentially, I want to meet your family. I want to meet your dog. I want to, No, if you pull the eject button right then and there. I get it. Guys hold on because the girl's giving up some booty or whatever the case may be.
Right.
She's companionship, whatever.
Right.
And guys will hold on to that instead of just saying, "Nah, babe, sorry, man. This ain't working out. This is not, this is not what I'm looking for. You need to find somebody that's willing to give you all that type of stuff." That's it, man.
I will say
pull the eject button.
I will say I felt honored because she said she wanted to meet his friends, and he called me up. He was like, "Yo, man, do you mind coming out, man?" He was like, "Do you mind coming out?" She keeps bugging me to meet one of my friends, man, and you know, and I felt honored by coming out. So me and my wife actually did come out.
It reminds me of that scene in what's that thing?
And my wife liked her. My wife really, really liked her. Believe it or not.
Goodfellas. When Henry originally didn't want to go out to dinner.
Yes.
But that's all that reminds me of.
Yeah.
When Henry didn't want to go out with, he eventually married her, but that didn't last. But anyway, so yeah, man, like that's the maturity you got to be able to pull. Say, you know what, booty aside, like companionship aside, it sucks to be alone. It just does. Like I don't care how many times people say, "Oh, I'm happy alone. I'm happily single." Man, ain't nobody happily single. I don't care what anybody. You're not happily single. You are biding your time being single, but you're not happily single. It's just not. You just ain't found the right person. But your long-term plan, I remember this, so I'll throw some Amazon in there. Mm-hmm. Is it sustainable? Are you going to be single for the rest of your life? No. You're going to be single until you find the person that you actually want to be with. Mm-hmm. But along the way, there's got to be a level of maturity that says, you know what? Hey, you know what? I understand. I just don't have those same feelings for you. I don't like you. Like I don't. Whatever. Right. Instead of saying, okay, we can go out and getting free dinners, and because that makes that dude turn into the bitter dude.
Right.
And I'm not. This is Cam's philosophy, not my Cam's experience. I'm good.
And going back to the original question that was asked that brought us to this segment. What do men think women want? I think every woman is different. I don't think you can textbook a female.
There's different levels of maturity in girls, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, there are girls that just want that material type shit. Mm-hmm. There's girls that just want affection, loyalty, love, all that fairy tale stuff.
Girls that want it all, too.
There's girls that want, there's all different levels of what do I want. And that is men too. I think the list is a little bit shorter for men, but there's all different levels.
Well, Lori, while you're on here, and we're asking this question, I think you're the only female on my live. What would you want out of a relationship?
Well, that was the second part. It was so what do men want, and what do women that are on the live, what would they say is are we wrong about in what we're saying? So I guess.